Donald Trump all but ensured a government shutdown when he refused to meet with the Democrat leadership yesterday. Now, Democrats want to roll back the Medicare and Medicaid cuts in the One Big Beautiful Bill, and they want to extend the Affordable Care Act subsidies to ensure that American citizens continue to receive health care. And Donald Trump said, I'm not going to meet with Democrats. I see no reason to meet with Democrats. I see no reason to give in to their demands until they give in to my demands. Now, this will place the blame for the shutdown solely on Donald Trump's head once again. The big 2018-29 shutdown, that one was also because Donald Trump refused to negotiate until well into the shutdown. So once again, Donald Trump's in power. Donald Trump has a Senate he controls, a House he controls, and we're going to shut down the government while Republicans are fully in control. And the Republicans are going to try to blame it on the Democrats. After Democrats have come forth and said, we're willing to negotiate, this is what we want, how can we get there? And Donald Trump and Republican leadership continues to say, we're not interested.
At the demand of Donald Trump, Republicans in Congress are refusing to even speak to the Democrats right now to avoid a government shutdown. Listen to what Senator Murphy had to say about this because it's absolutely crazy.
I mean, there's no negotiation happening because Donald Trump has told Republicans, don't talk to Democrats. Right now we are less than 2 weeks away from the government running out of money, and Republicans are refusing to speak to Democrats.
Think about how reckless what they're doing truly is, and the Democrats aren't even asking for anything massive either. No new sweeping programs, no trillion-dollar bills, none of that. All they're trying to do is prevent insurance premiums from being increased by 10 to 20% on millions of Americans with ACA coverage. They're just asking the Republicans in Congress to not make life more difficult for working families. And when it comes to the budget, Senator Murphy makes a very good point. The president is supposed to follow the law. If Congress passes a budget, then it's not optional. It's not a suggestion. But Trump is acting like he's a king, spending money however he wants to, rewarding his allies and punishing his enemies, of course, while ignoring the law entirely. So what are the Democrats asking for? Don't raise premiums, don't break the law, and don't tank the economy. That is it. But Republicans in Congress will not even come to the table. They don't care about serving their constituents. They care about serving Donald Trump. They're letting him dictate chaos, and it's going to lead to millions of Americans being impacted by a government shutdown. From federal workers to families relying on food assistance to veterans waiting on their benefits. They're willing to gamble with people's livelihoods just to score political points.
We have some news right now. Donald Trump has backed out of a meeting with Democratic leadership, Hakeem Jeffries and Chuck Schumer, ahead of what many expect to be a government shutdown in now just 1 week. Previously, Hakeem Jeffries and Chuck Schumer both requested a meeting with Donald Trump to sit down and talk about how to keep the government open. And while in response, Donald Trump initially said, of course, we'll sit down for a meeting later this week. But today, Donald Trump announced that he will be backing out of the meeting because Democratic leaders apparently have not essentially caved to his demands in time. And as a result, we're now barreling towards a government shutdown. Here's the thing. Republicans can't keep the government open on their own. Senators need Democrats on the Senate side to come and vote for their bill. And right now, there's no consensus on it. And so we're barreling towards a government shutdown in 1 week's time. And really, there's really not much that can be done to stop it. So we'll see what happens. Spread the word. Full breakdown on my Substack, linked in bio. Subscribe for free. Follow along for all the news you need to know about. More to come soon.
So what the Trump administration is doing right now with this shutdown threat isn't really about a budget. It's about control. And once you understand the psychology behind it, you can see exactly how they're trying to play the American people. Now, normally, right, when the government shuts down, workers are furloughed. They take a pause and then they come back once the shutdown ends. But this time, Trump's team is saying, no, no, no. Permanent firings. That's not a plan to save money. That's intimidation. It's a fear tactic because when people are scared of losing their jobs, they're less likely to speak up. They're less likely to push back. They're less likely to resist. That's how you control the workforce without passing a single law. Now pay attention to this part. The Office of Management and Budget told agencies to cut jobs that don't, quote, align with Trump's agenda. That has nothing to do with whether the jobs actually helps Americans. It's about whether it benefits him. That's authoritarian psychology 101. It's saying your survival depends on the loyalty to one man instead of service to the country. And here's the bigger game. By threatening whole programs like education and healthcare and housing, even scientific research, Trump positions himself as the one who decides if you get to eat, if you get to keep your healthcare, if your kids get an education. Psychologists call this learned helplessness. When people start to feel like they have no power to change things, they stop trying. They stop fighting back. And that's exactly what leaders like this want. At the same time, he's still shouting, America first. But think about it. If you're cutting education for kids, health care for families, housing support for struggling communities, that is not America's first. That is Trump first. That's gaslighting. That's saying one thing while doing the opposite and hoping you're too confused to call it out. And at the heart of all of this is a narcissist playbook. Create a crisis, break the system, scare the people, and claim you're the only one who can fix it. It's chaos by design. And the cost doesn't fall on him or his billionaire friends. It falls on you, your job, your family, and your future. So here's the real lesson. Don't just watch the politics, watch the psychology. Every move is designed to make you afraid, to make you dependent, and to make you quiet. But once you see the pattern, you can't unsee it. And once you see it, you can call it what it is. Because at the end of the day, folks, if the president is willing to sacrifice your paycheck, your health care, and your child's education just to protect his own power, we have to ask ourselves, how much longer are we going to sit quiet and let fear control us? By holding jobs and health care and housing programs hostage, Trump positions himself like the provider, like the father figure who decides if you eat, if you have health care, if you keep a roof over your head.
So we're just days away from a government shutdown, and Dookie Booty want to be petty, and he don't want to meet with the Democrats. After reviewing the details of the unserious and ridiculous demands being made by the minority radical left Democrats in return for their votes to keep our thriving country open, I have decided that no meeting with their congressional leaders could possibly be productive. They are threatening to shut down the government of the United States unless they can have over $1 trillion in new spending to continue free health care for illegal aliens, a monumental cost, force taxpayers to fund transgender surgery for minors, have dead people on Medicaid rolls, allow illegal alien criminals to steal billions of dollars in American taxpayer benefits, try to force our country again to open our borders to criminals and to the world, allow men to play in women's sports, and essentially create transgender operations for everybody. These radical left views and policies is what allowed me to win the presidential election, including in all swing states and the popular vote in a historic landslide. There are consequences to losing elections, but based on their letter to me, the Democrats haven't figured that out yet. They are trying to eliminate the popular $50 billion rural and vulnerable hospital fund, which was passed with only Republican votes and proudly signed into law by me. The Democrats in the Congress seem to have totally lost their way. They obviously have no idea what it means to put America first or to make America great again. All congressional Democrats want to do is enact radical left policies that nobody voted for. High taxes, open borders, no consequences for violent criminals, men and women's sports, taxpayer-funded transgender surgery, and much more. Few people voted for what they represent, which would lead to the destruction of America. Instead, people voted for common sense, and that's what the Republicans and your president, Donald J. Trump, stand for. I look forward to meeting with them if they get serious about our future and our nation. We must keep our government open and legislate like true patriots rather than hold American citizens hostage, knowing that they want our now thriving country closed. I'll be happy to meet with them if they agree to the principles in this letter. They must do their job. Otherwise, it'll be a long and brutal slog through the radicalized quicksand. To the leaders of the Democrat Party, the ball is in your court. When you become realistic about the things that our country stands for. Do the right thing. Donald J. Trump, President of the United States of America. Dookie Booty so fucking petty. Why he gotta be so fucking petty? So it look like we're gonna have a government shutdown because they don't reconvene until the 29th and they have until the 30th. So that gives them 24 fucking hours to come to an agreement on this goddamn budget. But if we do go into a government shutdown, just know that Social Security ain't gonna be touched, VA benefits aren't gonna be touched, and they're still gonna be operating the military as normal. But we don't need to have no government shutdown. But I hope the Dems stay strong because we need this fucking healthcare. They're fighting to get our fucking healthcare back. That's what that $1 trillion budget is that they're negotiating. Yeah, that's for our fucking healthcare. That's for Medicaid, Medicare. That's for SNAP benefits. That's so that they can extend these subsidies that they're trying to get rid of. So hopefully Dookie Booty stop being an ass and actually meet with them. Hopefully something happens so we don't got to go through no government shutdown. I don't know exactly what's going to happen if we do go through a government shutdown. It seemed like some unnecessary bullshit. But Dems, y'all better stand y'all ground and try to fight for our fucking healthcare because we need that shit.